What's good with y'all? RohXO, back on loop side. I'm gonna just show you like a quick little EST real Boston Richey, hard top of Violin, Detroit kind of type of beat, you know. So yeah, here's the beat. But before we get into the beat, I want to talk a little bit about Waves. Now, Waves is a site used to upload loops, samples, stems, things of that sort. So as you can see, it's got like a pretty robust user base right here. So if I just click on any of these, you can see a preview of the kit. You can see like legends like Coop the Truth in here, No Fuck in here. So if I can just click this, you can get like a nice little preview. So I ain't gonna play too much of that, but like we go into the pack right here, and as you can see, you can just get your credits by signing up and simply just hit download, and you can have any of these in your desktop to use, and you can just go crazy on a Coop the Truth loop or anything. It's really simple. It's got a great UI. I highly recommend it. I upload here myself. If you try and check it out, I'm gonna have my link down below, and you can get a discount off that too. So check that out. I'm gonna have that down below. Alright man, so I'm gonna break this down. This is a loop from my activated 9 kit with RohXO. So this is something me and him cooked up together, so salute to him. I'm gonna do this one by one. So here's what the loop sounds like all together. Yeah, so I'm gonna just break this down real quick. First sound we have here is a piano. This is from Noir. It's a Norfeld Gentle Dark piano. So the only changes I made was to turn this up because it starts out really low for some reason, the gain. So you just turn the volume up. Turned all these off. Then this is the MIDI Hydro sent me. I just changed the pitch. I added this section right here in the second half, which is just the first chord, to sort of simplify it and add like some variation. So here's what it sounds like. So salute to Hydra. It's a pretty cool ass piano pattern right there. What it is, just some stacked up C sharps right here, so we're in C sharp minor. Then we got these basic sort of triads, these C sharp triads. So you could either start with the E or the D sharp right here. I have to go for the D sharp. Sounds cold. Then yeah, just like plays out this really like, I guess it's sort of busy, but I have it kind of low down in the mix, so it's kind of cool. So it's a real busy pattern, just playing these chords right here. I dropped the bass note down right here, but other than that, Hydra kept it like pretty simple right here. I just added this part right here just for some variation at the end, where I break up the chords. And yeah, there isn't too much to it. I hit Alt S to I hit Alt S to strum. I'll try to randomize a little bit, and I got this cool pattern. So salute to Hydra for the MIDI. Then for effects on that, I have my reverb, just default settings. Some RC20 right here, just like pretty subtle, just a little bit of wobble, a little bit of reverb, and like the EQ right there. And then I decided to cut some of the lows, added bass in later. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Then I have this violin right here. This is Chris Hines solo violin. It's one of the best violins you can get for Contact for sure. Here's what this pattern sounds like. and I freak it a little later, but for now it's pretty simple. All I got here is like this little shaper box right here. So this final note, I have it start swelling, just because I think it sounds better when it swells in. So that's what that is. I just put this on 4 bars, add this little line right here, and have it going up. To do that, I'll just show you. It's really easy. Open up shaper box, go to volume. If you have, wherever you want to put like your little swell, add the lines here. Add as many as you want. Move this back up and just have it click down like that. And yeah, that's pretty much what I did right there. That's simple. So I mentioned this before, but order of operations matters. So when I'm doing these swells with shaper box, I'll put them right on the top so the reverb is still still in effect. The RC20 is still in effect, and the Soothe 2 as well. So if I, for example, if I move this all the way down, the reverb from all of these will cut out too. See, it sounds kind of weird where I do this. It's like, it doesn't cut off just like abruptly and shit, so it sounds better. Then yeah, Alt-R just to randomize it a little bit. You don't randomize it too much. But yeah, and as I mentioned, I freak it later, so it doesn't really matter too much. Next thing, everyone knows it, everyone loves it, balkanizing orchestra. This is the Gypsy violin right here. It's one of the most used violins. It's not the romantic violin level of use, but it's pretty high. But it's just a really simple pattern right here, is what it sounds like. So yeah, once again, just playing with some octaves right there. Just have it like hit on the G sharp, and then up on the G sharp, which is, as you may remember, it's the top note of the piano right here. So you can use whatever note sounds good to you within the chords. I think that's the best way to go. The bass note always sounds good. That's always a safe one. Or you could use the top note, the middle note, whatever you want. You know. So yeah, this is another piano I freak a little later too. So I'll get into that later. But yeah, for this I just have reverb. I have it turned up a little bit. RC20, same settings. I have this RC20 on everything. So, and then finally a little bit of Soothe too, just to get those resonances out of there. Next thing are these keys from Analog Lab. These are the Astronautics keys from Henny Major's Thermonuclear Bank, so salute to him. Here's what it sounds like. So I'm really just following that first chord on the one right here, keep hitting it, add this little E for a little bit of variation at the end. But yeah, keeping it very simple, just a very simple layer just to like sort of fatten up the main sound. Then for that, I have this reverb on, basic. GHz matrix just to widen it up. RC20, same settings. And then I just cut out like a fair bit of lows right here with this RohXO. Next thing is this bass from Purity, and it's pretty famous. Like, it's used in a lot of Detroit beats. It's like one of the quintessential Detroit sounds. The synth bass one right here. So if I play that, so yeah, I'm really just following like a lot of the bass notes right there. This G sharp is actually just using the rule of fifths. So if you go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you get the G sharp. I just pitch it up an octave because it's too low down here. Don't really fuck with that, but yeah, you have it up, it sounds good. Down right here, add a few more notes just for variation. Have this E just to have it nicely transition back into the C sharp. So just keep that in mind when you're doing these. One thing I do for a lot of my Detroit beats is leave space between these. So you may use an envelope if you're using like one shots or something. For this, like, it's just already kind of cuts off already by itself, so you don't really need to, but it adds more bounce if you cut it off, in my opinion. So that's kind of like what I'm on, but depends on you. But yeah, aside from that, no real effects on it, just leave it as it is. The last sound is this choir from Contact. It's the women's performance from Choir Centrals, and I keep it real simple. So I open up women's performance, I take out all of these because I really just want one sort of syllable. So you can kind of choose what syllables you want, and it'll play like one after the other. I just want to keep it simple. I want my favorite, the MO one, Mo, whatever. But yeah, I just copied the keys, the MIDI for the keys, and pitched it up a little bit. Here's what this sounds like. Only difference is I put this E back a little more than it was in the keys, just to vary a little bit. Then for effects on that, just got this pancake right here, just to pitch it left, just to move it left to right for some space. Basic reverb, same RC20, and just cut out some of the lows again. And then the actual final sound, I think I said this before, this is the actual final sound. It's something I add a lot of my stuff. It's this typical Pain sort of hit you hear in a lot of Pain songs. So it's from my drum kit actually. You can go cop that for free, 100%. Link will be in the description. But it's literally just this sound right here, probably familiar. So yeah, I do this in a lot of my loops, to be honest. Probably overdo this, but yeah, what I do is I just reverse it, pitch it to the right note, so it's on C. You can just move it up however much you want. Turn this in out a bit. It's the same as turning the out if you're going the other way around, and it sounds like this. Yeah, so just like a nice little transition in my opinion. I add that to the end of a lot of my 8-bar loops. So for effects on that, reverb, just got it turned up. Delay on these settings right here, just so it sort of bleeds into the next part, so it's like more of a transition. Cut out some of the highs right here because it's like a clicking noise. And just some of the lows too. And yeah, that's the loop as it is there. Then I kind of thought the violin sounded a little boring, so what I ended up doing is I reversed both the violins, and it just sounds like a lot harder. So here's what the two violins sound like initially. Play them together. And then when I reverse them, here's what it sounds like. So the only other changes I added to them was to pan them in two different directions, just to space them out, because they're sort of occupying the same space at the same time. So I wanted to change that, and then I threw a little bit of reverb on it, and by a little bit I mean a lot, because there's a lot on this. Same goes for this one. Threw a lot of reverb on there, and yeah, with that I had the finished loop. So I'm gonna get into the beat now. Alright man, so I got the beat loaded up right here, and I saw like a really simple bounce on this, so I kept it pretty simple. Yeah, here's what I got for the beat. So got the rim right here. It's like a typical rim you'd hear in like a lot of Detroit kind of beats. A lot of harder like G, you know, like G, real Boston Richey type of shit. So here's what it sounds like. And I keep that bounce simple because we're 200 BPM, so I don't want to do anything too crazy, or it's just gonna sound like a mess. So yeah, just vary up the velocities when it's not hitting on the downbeat right there, just to like vary it up a little bit. But yeah, next up we got these hi-hats here. Again, a very simple pattern. Just have it bouncing using the velocities right here, and just like a little roll at the end, but kept it pretty simple. Here's what it sounds like. And then yeah, there was like a little bit of reverb on there too, just to make it a little more impactful in between the spaces and the hi-hats. But yeah, next up we got the spins right here, the 808. Nothing too crazy, just like a bounce that goes well with the hi-hats in my opinion. So here's what it sounds like. Yeah, so since the actual chords of the piano don't like change the bass note at all, I keep it pretty similar to that here. I just have it going down 4 and down 5 for this part. I pitch it up an octave obviously, so it's up here. But yeah, it's essentially that. I just pitch it up. Then a little more change right here. Just have like this note cut off with the envelope and go into like this lower octave A right here, just to make it like a very smooth transition between every 8 bars. So yeah, next up, simple as open hat. I'm gonna just play this with everything else. Yeah, so just that crunch on the downbeat that you always want. And yeah, I added another open hat right here. So in a way, it's kind of layering the 808, and when it's not, it's playing like right before this rim, so it sounds pretty good there. And yeah, pretty much just leave it at that, and the beat itself is very simple. Right here, I have the bass come in, so that's what this EQ automation is. So when it plays, otherwise it does play still with the 808. So I don't think I mentioned this before, but you can definitely play the Detroit bass with an 808. You just need to EQ it, and it sounds good actually. It actually makes the 808 sound harder. It sounds like you layered the 808 with like a higher frequency sort of bass, and it sounds kind of fire. But for this part, there's no 808. Obviously, I just have the lows paying like fully. So yeah, just like bring in the bass right there, real simple. Use this transition right here. And yeah, man, the actual drums themselves are dead simple on this. I didn't use too many like Detroit bursts like the laser or the other like I didn't use any of that, you feel me? Just kept it simple for this one, just because I just saw like a lot of space that could be used by an artist. I didn't want to like cram in too many like perks and shit, even though it's a Detroit beat. I feel like a lot of them are like a little more simple as well, this BPM. So yeah, man, that's this beat. Let me know if you fuck with this. Let me know if you fuck with Activator 9. Go get it if you fuck with it. Go check out my drum kit. It's 100% free. Catch that, and go check out Waves, because you get some great deals using my code down in the description. And yeah, stay looped in. Peace out.